first item on the agenda is pay the bills. Have any discussion, questions, comments?
No Christian names in there.
That's what I was gonna ask, must not be a preacher to have it filled out there. All right, entertain a motion.
It's disguised.
I'll make the motion to pay the bill.
Motion been made to pay the bill, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, raise your hand. No, the credit card bill won't be in it. I finally got some batteries for that rig, so y'all don't stroke out too bad if you see the bill on those batteries. I went back with the same.
You're making gel batteries?
Yeah, gel batteries.
Well, yours in there this time?
Huh? I don't think so. I think that's probably next time.
Yeah, the credit card bill.
And don't let me forget, I got the receipts and all that.
Did you get the batteries on there?
No, I've got them out in the shop right now. Hopefully tomorrow. Unless I get hung up on the trial tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon we should get the batteries on and get that thing back. Yeah. I looked at those other batteries and I decided they were quite a bit more expensive, and I felt like with the way that thing was running down there, those gel batteries would hold up better.
Probably would.
Anyway, just want to bring that up. All right, item number 2, consent list. All we have is minutes of the previous meeting. We had a chance to look over those. I didn't see where we needed to make any changes. Anybody else? Have a motion. Got a motion to approve. Have a second? Second. Got a second. All in favor? Unless there's some objection, let's jump down to item number 5. Consider approval of new contract for delinquent tax collection for Due Brown, Collins, and Mott. Adam, you're this one.
Thank you, sir. My name's Adam Walker. I'm the partner with Purdue Brandon, Tiller, Collins, and Mott. We do your delinquent tax collection. This is my law partner, Tony Ellison. He'll go through and do the bulk of this presentation, but so I'll turn it over to Mr. Ellison.
Good morning, everybody. We've had the pleasure of working for y'all for several years, collecting your delinquent property taxes. We're the ones that, there's 3 or 4% of folks don't pay every year on time, and those are the ones that are turned over to us if they're still delinquent as of the following July. And so the way that we get paid, the legislature came up with back in 1979, our services are paid entirely through a penalty that is assessed against the delinquent taxpayers. So the people that make us necessary foot the bill. We don't get paid unless we collect it for you. If we collect it, you get not only your base tax and all of your penalty and interest, but it's at no cost to you. Even the court costs are assessed against the delinquent taxpayer if we have to file a suit. We try everything we can to try to collect those short of filing a lawsuit because it does add more cost to the person who already owes a bunch. But the legislature in 79 set the penalty that can be assessed for the delinquent tax collection part at 15%. Then they came back in 2001 and raised that to 20% if there is no objection or if there's approval by the entities. And that's why we're here this morning. We're asking for y'all to consider bumping us to 20%. It would start with the 2012 tax year. All of the older years that we're still working on would remain at 15%. We like anybody else that trying to make a living in the past 34 years since the tax code was written, cost of everything's gone up, from payroll to, health insurance, to gasoline, to, everything we do. I guess paper clips would probably cost more than that. I didn't price them, but, the thing about it is, we try to, be more than a collection agency for y'all. We try to give legal advice when it is asked of us. We try to, keep your tax office out of trouble if they, have something that we see. Of course, Jim Ward runs an excellent office, and so that's not an issue. But if we were to see something he was doing and that wasn't quite kosher, we would try to point it out to him. And but like I say, he does a top-notch job for you. The other thing is we attempt to give back to the people we represent. We not only sponsor social events like meals, but we also sponsor educational opportunities for all the various regional and statewide county judges and commissioners, along with school boards and county collectors, and you name it, we're there, and we try to give back in that way. And it's become tougher and tougher as years go by to do that on 15%. So anyway, we would ask for the court's consideration of going to 20%, starting with the 2012 tax year. We have prepared a proposed resolution and contract that we would ask that you approve, and as part of the same action item. And Adam, do you have anything else?
Not much, just to reiterate that, this doesn't cost the county a dime. All of our services are paid by the delinquent taxpayer. And most everybody else, I think we've got only one other county that's at 15% that we're still working on, but everybody else in this area and everybody else that we represent, other than that one county, has gone up to 20%. And we tried to hold off as long as we could to get it to move it up to 20%, but the time is coming. So.
Well, just one other thing to make sure that you understand, we don't sneak up on anybody. The tax office is sending letters between time tax bills go out in the fall until they go delinquent in February, and then after that, before it's turned over to us in July, they'll get a letter next month saying that an additional penalty for collection fee will be assessed if it's not paid in by July 1st. And so people that let them go that far have had lots and lots of notices before it's even turned over to us. And then we still continue to work with them and explain that they may need to come in and at least make some effort, whether it's a payment, payout arrangement, or whatever, or just prioritizing a little bit differently in the bill paying. But
And we're starting with the 2012 tax year because that's what we'll start collecting in July, is the 2012 taxes. We're always kind of a year behind.
Why wouldn't you just go ahead and make it retro? I mean,
it just doesn't allow it to be
Doesn't allow for it. The
ex
statute.
post facto, or not ex post facto, what's it? Ex post facto law.
After the fact. And you can't do that.
I would love to do that, don't get me wrong.
They should have paid the taxes on time, and y'all be out of business.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah. Let's,
And, you're looking at generally 2 to 3% of the tax roll.
Sure.
And so by the time we get it, by the time this year, next year, or at this time next year, you'll have over 100% of your levy.
Sure.
For 2012 year.
Sure.
But you just get it a little later, and that's because of the penalty interest and things like that. But we have pretty good collection numbers for Stonewall. And,
I was just fixing to ask you, on average, do we run about like everybody, I mean, so, is that a state average? Probably, or what?
well,
what
I
kind of
wouldn't say
opinion
it's
on
a state average, though, and I don't have the exact number to give you right now, and I probably should have printed that off, but we look at that monthly, and whether it's for Central Appraisal District, or for Kent County, or for King County, which, King County's probably our smallest client. We don't care if it's the big one or the little one, we want to collect it. We have a duty to y'all, and we enjoy doing what we do. So, it depends on the county, and it depends on certain things, but for the most part, if we get 60%, we're ecstatic. And a lot for the...
During the first year.
During the first year. That's,
Yeah.
Between July 1 and June 30. So for this year, we're on the 2011s, and so by the end of June, we're hoping, if we get 60%, we're pretty ecstatic.
Yeah.
Most of our numbers are around 70 right now. I don't know if that's the exact number for Stonewall, and I'm not going to promise that.
Yeah.
But that's where we're running, anywhere between 60 and 70% of that 2 to 3% of the tax.
Right.
1.2, 1.3%, isn't it? Delinquent, something like that.
Yeah,
Is
and it varies.
Is that pretty standard for
Yeah.
most?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, on a delinquent piece of property that no one pays on, say it becomes delinquent, it's an old falling down house, they turn it over to you, you send the letters out, they say, well, I'm just not gonna fool with it. You guys got a little work in that, it becomes, we foreclose on it, sell it out here on the steps, and we wind up with it. How do you get paid out of that situation?
We don't.
It
Unless it gets sold.
Well,
Unless it gets sold after the tax sale. But before we get paid after that, on a resale like that, before we get paid, the court costs get paid, publication fees get paid, which we put the bill for originally. We cover those on the outset, isn't that correct? When we do a tax sale. Those get paid, then the ad litem fee, if there are any, we have to have.
That's the other attorney.
That's
that,
another attorney.
The court appoints for anybody that we couldn't find.
That happens. Most of the time when that happens, we have to have an ad litem if somebody's passed away and not left a will. And so in that instance, or they didn't have one probated and get it filed here, or they didn't have a probate here. And if that happens, we have to serve what we call the unknown heirs of X, because we may track down 6 kids, but without a will and a definitive list, we don't know if that's all. And so we have to serve those unknown heirs, and that makes the attorney ad litem necessary. And then after the ad litem fees get paid, the court costs get paid. After the court costs get paid, there's one more thing before the taxes get paid.
Publisher,
Do what?
isn't it the publisher?
We pay those first, yeah. And then then the taxes get paid, and then at the very end of that deal is us. So if we take one to sell and it doesn't do anything, we do all the legwork and all that, it doesn't take care of, we don't get it taken care of, or it doesn't sell at the tax sale, gets struck off to y'all.
Short answer to your question, we don't get paid.
Yeah.
But that's part of the service.
That's part of the
that we do, that's part of our deal.
So these little lots that get abandoned up here, y'all really suck air on them, basically, what you're telling me.
Yes, sir.
I mean, where you come in, or was it big, where there's something of value there, and they,
But
Yeah,
we treat those.
but we treat them the
I
same.
understand, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we take good and bad in this situation.
Yeah.
what you
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And we treat those just like we would any other property.
I've been getting letters from y'all for 2 years now
Oh, really?
on a couple of lots over at Swenson. Lots of theirs. So what the plan was, they're right next to the church over there, and of course I get the tax bill every year, and there's so many heirs to try to send the deed around. I was going to dedicate, let the church buy it. I don't know when it's gonna come up for sale or anything. Like I said, it's been 2 years, I'm still getting notices from y'all.
I'll check on that.
Hey, we can sure check on it, we'll talk to you after the meeting, and, the bear in mind, the owner has personal liability as well as just the property having a lien against it. And so the owner, as of January 1 of each year, has personal liability from now on,
Yeah,
on the property.
it's the state property that, like
Gotcha.
Randy has, like I say, they don't tell how many errors, and it wouldn't be worth having to
Yeah, it'd be,
search all of them. Is there any short way to go ahead and
Typically,
put it for sale?
typically no, unless you sell it. As far as like dedicating it to the county, or we get a lot of that all the time. You know, well, we'll just give it to the school, or we'll just give it to the county, or whatever. And typically that doesn't work. But if you can get it sold before that,
Well, my plan
or
was
give it deeded to the church.
to quit paying tax on it, which I did, and turn it over to y'all, and y'all have it with sheriff sale or whatever you do. But it hasn't come to
Well,
pass yet. And I was gonna pay you, go ahead and pay the taxes and whatnot for the church, but I want the church to bid on it out here instead.
We have that, we can start the ball rolling on that if we haven't already.
no problem with doing it that way. It sure does run up the court costs, because every time you serve anybody, what is it, Patty, $75 for the sheriff's fee? And so if you have additional lien holders and owners that have to be served, that's $75 pop on
Y'all
top
gonna have
of the.
to try to search all them errors then? Wow. I better go pay the taxes.
You better bring it. Y'all better bring it.
Yes, that's the question, yeah.
All right, we may talk that, we go ahead and pay the taxes, forget this. But I'm gonna be, but I wouldn't personally be liable for the $75 a pop, would I?
No, sir, if you're just one of many heirs, we don't usually go after the heirs for, something they didn't have title to.
Yeah.
What we all do now, that the Stonewall County Courier, I don't think is printing a paper anymore, so what do you do about your?
We'll have to go to an adjoining county or post the notice of the sale at 3 public places. It can be at, say, the courthouse and the city hall, school, or a grocery store, or post office for that matter. But it's gotta be 3 places, and it's gotta be a certain period of time. Anya, did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say, I've heard that we might be getting a paper. Somebody said they might start publishing.
I've heard that we're, as of, I think, about today, wasn't it? We measured it the 1st of May.
They were supposed to start publishing the 1st of May.
The 1st of May.
See, I heard that the paper is going.
Yeah.
And of course,
Sold or something.
Yeah,
we've got to make sure that they're a legal publication as defined by the statutes before we can use them. So we'll make sure of that.
I just looked up the statutes on that, printed out for annual and stuff for them. It's not a local publication, it's posted.
Right.
And probably here, post office, and city hall would be the 3 primary places.
That's probably
you get out to see it.
And, we also on sales have on our website, when we have a sheriff's sale, we put it on our website and get pretty good coverage of statewide.
I mean, you have people that go to a lot of our tax sales. I mean, we see a lot of the same people.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
Look for a deal.
yeah. Especially in the general property.
There's a guy from up there that followed y'all pretty hard on that middle road.
Ooh.
Yeah, David Hill out of
I had
yeah.
had one the other day that, last month, I think, the total on 2 mineral properties of taxes on it and penalties were $5,000–6,000, sold for $120,000.
Wow. Mental property right now in this part of the world is
Yep.
pretty good piece of property, y'all.
Yep, I'd like to have a bunch of them.
We've got a couple of wells being drilled right here on both sides of us. If those things prove out, we're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, you are kind of in the middle of that little.
Yeah, we're sitting right here. We're just waiting to see how each side is gonna prove out. If both of them do, it's gonna make Stonewall County pretty good.
Good.
Scurry County, they're gearing up pretty hard for it right now.
Any more questions? Actually got kind of
Which one?
a double deal here in
What do you
one.
want first, Judge?
Well, the resolution, we're at 15% on the fee on delinquent property. We have a resolution to raise that to 20%.
Right.
And then we have the contract to renew on this thing. I guess, we can take a vote on the resolution first, if y'all had a chance to read it, have any questions about that.
I make a motion, we,
Actually, we probably could do it both with one, if pass the resolution and sign the contract, the renewal contract to allow,
yes, sir, that's the way
Yeah.
we would suggest.
pass the resolution and renew the contract with Purdue Brown until the Collington Mock to collect our delinquent taxes under that new 20% penalty.
That's what I would make a motion, let the county judge, looks like that's what the
County
senior
judge
want,
sign.
sign on behalf of Stonewall County.
All right, have a motion, get the motion, be on page. Okay, we'll have a second. Jan, second, all in favor? Okay, motion carried. We're gonna sign these right now? or-
Yes, sir, if you
Okay,
don't
let's
mind,
get
A
these.
little break from it, so you can talk to me.
No, sure. Second.
We can wait for you.
No, too late.
We
can take,
We can take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, we can take a break while we.
Yeah, while he's doing that-
Maybe we can visit that.
Yeah, while he's signing up, I'll, break off with you.